1998, Bellevue, Washington. The Equal Rights Amendment. Is it time to embrace men as equals? A good friend who adamantly rejects any public association with the Backlash is deeply involved in the continuing effort to pass an Equal Rights Amendment, or ERA. When it passed Congress in 1972, and during the 10-year effort to win through state ratification, he was there, as he still is today, more than 25 years later, but always on the fringe because men are not allowed to play a key role in the effort. Is this why it failed? Because the women behind the ERA don't practice what they preach? It's their show, and men play a subordinate role. Ironic, as so many feminists still assert feminism is about liberating both sexes. Quote, "The liberated society with men, women, and children living as whole human beings, not halves divided by sex roles, depends on the steadfast search for new solutions to just such apparently trivial problems, on new answers to tired old questions." Close quote. Jane O'Reilly, Ms. Magazine, September-October 1997. The elitist attitude dominates in women's organizations. Men are outsiders, and while sometimes, as in the case of Warren Farrell, a man may be briefly accepted among the higher ranks, only those who are willing to smile and nod at every misandristic diatribe are welcome. Meanwhile, many of these same women demand admission into men's organizations. Once in, they demand fundamental changes. Any man who would dare to do likewise in a feminist organization would be jeered if not expelled, because feminism is less about women than men. It's about changing men. But real equality requires both women and men to change their attitudes and actions, values and choices. The only attitude adjustment women's organizations encourage in women is self-entitlement. The core value of the revolution is selfishness. Not rational self-interest, but a princess paradigm of privilege without obligation which requires men, but not women, to evolve. Evolution is a process of change from within. Revolution changes conditions, and feminists see changing men as key to changing women's conditions. Quote, "We need men to join us in taking pressure off kids and putting it on the workplace." Close quote. Arlie Russell, Hochschild, Ms. Magazine, September-October 1997. They expect our help, but won't help us, not even to help themselves, then wonder what it will take to revitalize the movement. Quote, "There was another, more radical side to the movement, which had to do with the promise feminism held out to women of a life not just with more justice, but also more freedom, more self-respect, more choices, and more pleasure. Feminism promised that one could become more conscious of the social forces limiting one's life, and that from this new awareness political change could come. This is what was meant. This is what the much maligned slogan, 'The personal is political,' meant. It was a do-it-yourself, direct-action social movement." Close quote. Katha Pollitt, Atlantic Monthly, November 1997. Maybe it's time for the women's liberation movement to give itself an enema, flush out the androphobic attitudes, and embrace men as equals. Even Gloria Steinem herself has finally admitted as such. Quote, "Let's face it, until men are fully equal inside the home, women will never be really equal outside it." Close quote. Gloria Steinem, Ms. Magazine, September-October 1997. Decades ago, my friend was a very active supporter of the Equal Rights Amendment, but the women involved would not allow him to participate as an equal in the effort, and their effort did not succeed. Until they accept and treat men as equals, it never will. Afterward, David Alt was his name, and he died several years ago of congestive heart failure. No feminists acknowledged his effort, and likely they never will. For feminism is a hate movement, and no men, no matter how supportive, warrant their respect. 2016, Olympia, Washington. Obviously, I've given up. Short of transhumanism giving us the tools to rewrite human nature, we're stuck with hypergamy in women and dominance in men. Dominance in men, when harnessed to the priorities of hypergamy, creates civilization. Hypergamy run amok, however, as is the case today, destroys civilization. MGTOW is rising. The ERA is dead. Let feminism die with it. For the Backlash at Backlash.com, my name is Rod Van Mecklin.